Hi everybody. In this video I want to talk about the age curve for the ACA market, individual plans, small group plans, and I really want to talk about it in two directions. One, just a discussion about what it is and how rates are determined using it. That'll be a quick overview, and then talk about how it affects renewals for your clients. This video is for insurance agents, brokers, advisors, or anybody who works with rate tables with insurance companies or health insurance. So what the age curve is, you can get some information at this website. It's a CMS website. It's government, and I'll put a link in the description. But the age curve is a table that looks kind of like this, and I actually just downloaded this from the website. So this is a government issued table. It's a table that informs pricing for health insurance products based on age. And again, this will apply to the community rating products in the ACA market for each of the states. But the only thing really to be aware of, two things to be aware of about the table is that one, under regulation, the rate curve rules or age curve rules state that a health plan cannot have more than a 3-to-1 price difference between a base rate, usually that's the age 21 rate, and an age 65 rate. And so you can kind of see that here on the table. Age 21 is the 1.0 factor, and then age 63 or 4 and older is a 3.0 factor. This column right here, the default, is a federal age curve. It's the age curve that's used by most states, but a few states have opted to establish their own curves, and their examples are here. So I'm in Utah, for example, and so Utah uses this curve. It still follows the same rules as far as the 3-to-1, but the schedule of how rates accumulate or compound based on age is according to this schedule. And the reason they call it a curve, if you're not comfortable with math, is because if you plot this, which we will on a graph, it forms a line, and they call those curves. So the way the rate curve works, I've loaded that data into this program here, and so you can see the data there, and I've got it for each of the states. But we'll stick with the default or the federal curve to kind of hit the most people. And the way it works is you simply come down the table and you find an age. So that's the age column here, and then you get the curve value or the factor value for that age, and that's what is used to determine the prices. And the way that works, an insurance company, when they're creating plans, they're obviously going to create prices. So an insurance company is going to create a product, and we'll do that here just as a kind of an example. We're going to invent a product. We'll call it product plan XYZ. And what we do is you simply establish a base price, and the base price is going to be the age 21 rate. So if we say that the base price is $329, just making up a number, then 1.0 times 329 will be equal to 329. And then we'll take that 329 and just apply it to each of the categories here. And I can do that fast using this program. So we'll go, we'll just use the number 329 just to keep things simple. And we go like that. So now we've created the column, and I'll put the factors on here so you can see that, and then plan XYZ. And here you go. So as you can see in column 21, in age 21, the 1.0 factor is $329. And just to verify it so you can kind of see the math in action, we would take, let's say to figure out the age 48 rate, you would take the 329 and multiply it by this factor here, the 1.635, and we get 537.91, and you have the value there. So this is how an insurance company creates the various rates for their products. They simply establish a base price and then run it through the factor table, and we get prices. So The reason that this is good to understand is let's shift gears now. Let's talk about renewals, and this is where I think the conversation gets somewhat interesting. Your renewal is going to, when you look at those rate tables, your renewal is going to really have, from member to member, is going to have two directions of rate increase. We're all used to the fact that the insurance products usually go up in price every year. They go up by some inflationary amount that's relative to the cost of health care's inflation. And when you have a member on a product, they get a renewal, and that renewal is not always consistent, meaning that you can have two people. Let's say we sold an individual plan to someone, and we sold the individual plan to one person who's one age and another person who's another age, and when we get their renewal increase, and we sold them the same plan, they're just different ages, we get different percentage increases. Most of us are used to kind of calculating out the difference between the premium from year 1 to year 2 and reporting that to the member, saying, hey, your plan went up by 5% or 3% or whatever the number happened to be. And it gets a bit confusing because we'll see that the product price doesn't seem to go up the same amount from person to person, and the age curve is usually the explanation for why that is. And so, to give an example of that, let's create one more scenario here, and that scenario is let's say that the health insurance company reports to us at year end that for the upcoming year their plans went up by 3%, and we usually will get that kind of information. They'll come to us and say, hey, good news, the product went up by this small amount, small in their minds. And so we go and report that to our clients, and then we get the renewals for our clients, and the net dollar effect is not equal to what the insurance company told us. And so the question is, did they lie to us? And usually the answer is no. What happened, and we'll say plan XYZ, and then we're going to say year 2, we're going to say is equal to plan XYZ, and that's year 1, and let's say that the plan had a 3% increase. And so now if we display that, sorry, I can't type and chew gum here. Oh, I'm kind of dumb, aren't I? Okay. So what this table is telling us is representing kind of that scenario where the insurance company comes to us and says, hey, our plans went up by a certain amount this year, so they went up by 3%. We can come and look at the table and say, okay, let's pick a number at random. Let's grab 42. Age 42, the premium in year 1 was $435, and I'm using this column right here, or this row. So 435.925 times 1.03 is equal to 449, almost 01, and 449.0275. So that's what the insurance companies mean when they tell us that the products went up by some percentage. If they come to us and say the product went up by 3%, and the challenge is that when we go to our clients and give them the renewal, what we have to deal with is the fact that not only did the plan go up, but the member also aged up. And we talked about the curve, so let's take a look at the curve. The experience of aging up is kind of demonstrated here, but I'm going to show you another graph in a minute that really kind of exposes the experience of a renewal. But if in this case, if you pick an age, you say let's age 30. And maybe it's helpful to see the factors as on the table as well. So this is the table. So if we say someone's age 30, the factor is 1.135, and then if they in the next year when they turn age 31, the factor is 1.159, and so we have a higher factor, or we would multiply that base rate by a higher factor number, which means that the price is also going to be higher. So to kind of demonstrate the effect of that, what we're saying is that when a member gets a renewal, they get two factors of renewal. One is the percent by which the table went up in value. So in this case, it's 1.03. And then they also have the factor to deal with, which is, so let's say, what example did we have? I think we had 31. So the way we figure that out is we have to take what's the difference from last year's factor to this year's factor. So let's we're going to create a value here. We're going to call it the factor difference, and that's going to be equal to 1.159 divided by, so that was age 31, where the age we are in year 2, over what the factor was in year 1, which is 1.135, and we'll get a value. So the age up factor was 2.11%. That's what that means. So if we want to understand what the renewal was, then the renewal is going to be multiplicative. You have to multiply the renewal increase of 1.03, how much the table went up, by the factor change, and you get the net effect to what the cost difference is for the member. So for this member, the renewal isn't 3%; it's 5.17%, and this is where things get a little bit interesting. So as we look at this curve, you say, okay, well, there's definitely a curve shape to the data here, but you can see it's not smooth. We have first thing we have is from age 0 to about 15, I think it is. Age 15. So from ages 0 through 14, you can see the factors are the same, and then at age 15, we have a change. We go up to 8.33%, and a way to visualize the effect of aging up is to create a table that looks something like this, where what we're doing is we're taking the difference year to year. So obviously in year 0 there's no change, and what we're going to do is kind of the same experiment that I did down here, where we take year 1 and or year 2 and divide it by year 1. So if we come down here to age 14 or 15, sorry, what we're saying is this is where we can see a change. There's an 8% difference between age 15, the age 15 factor, and the age 14 factor, and then so on as we move up the table. So from age 18 to 17, or in the year that we turn 18 from 17, we see a 3% shift. So this column here is reporting the change as a matter of percentage in price from aging up. And when we plot that on a graph, you get something that looks like this, which really kind of explains to me the irregularity in experience that we have with clients as they get their renewals, that they just kind of appear like they're all over the map. This is almost a hard to work with curve, if you will. I mean, it makes it very unpredictable if you don't know what's going on as to what's happening in the rates, and it's explaining simply the rate of change based on aging up. So the important thing to get your head around is this curve is measuring rate of change. It's not measuring price, it's measuring the rate at which price changes. And so from age 0 to 14, here we have no rate of change based on aging up. It doesn't mean that the cost doesn't go up, because remember, the tables can go up in price, and then we also get a bump in price from aging up. From ages 0 to 14, there's no change, and then all of a sudden, when we turn 15 years old, we shoot up and have that 8.8% increase in price, and then from age 16 or 15 to 16, we still get an increase, but it's not quite as heavy. It's about 3%. And then something strange happens. We turn 21, and you get about 3%. I think that's what this is going to show. So at 21 you get 3%, 3.09%, and then from age 21 to 22 there's no increase, and that happens until you're 25, and then you get a 0.5% increase, and you can kind of see just kind of how the curve goes. And there's I want to avoid the possibility that I'm exposing something, or trying to point a finger at the insurance industry or whatever. I'm not, but what I am trying to do is just offer some insight as to why the experience is so kind of wild. So you can, if you've got a group, an employer group, and you have a lot of employees in this range, your renewal is going to feel very light. And then if you have 1 or 2 employees, especially if you're doing a contribution based on percentage or something like that, if you got a couple of employees in this range, they're going to really feel a pinch from the renewal increase. This tool down here is something that kind of helps illustrate what I'm trying to get at. So what this is doing is modeling the change from year 1 to year 2. So in this case, we'll take I'm just going to leave the data values that we have here. But what we're saying is we've got a person age 49. They have a product with a base rate, the age 21 rate of 300, and then in year 2, the table got a 1.25% rate increase, or a 2.5% rate increase on the table. So the question is, what's the effect to the member? Well, in year 1, we have the $300 age 21 premium. The member's 49. The factor at 49 is 1.706. So 1.706 times 300 means they have a premium of 511.80 based on the age 49. Then in year 2, we have a 2.5% rate increase on the table. That means the age 21 rate is 307.50, but the member is now 50 years old. The factor at age 50 is 1.786. That represents a factor difference of 4.68%. So the member experiences a 7.3% price difference, even though the plan only had a 2.5% table difference. So remember, the table is the cost of how rates go up. I visualize it as the rate table increase is a horizontal increase. It's how the price increases in sort of a horizontal fashion. What's the price difference between a 38-year-old this year and a 38-year-old next year? And then the member also has the vertical difference, which is the aging up. So in the case of what the effect is to the member and on your renewal, it's a percentage difference of both the rate table and then the aging up factor. And when you put those together, that's how you get the value there. So the only thing I think I really want to highlight about this is just how irregular the experience can be, and why the reason for that is it's based on age. So as you're consulting with your clients, I think it's important to, one, always, if you're going to do anything, I would always be communicating changes to them in terms of the actual price they pay. I would never be relaying table changes. If the insurance companies come out and issue news, hey, good news, our plans only went up by 3%. I personally never report that to my clients. I might tell them that, but if I tell them that, I tell them the whole story. Hey, the plan went up by this much, but you've got to account for aging up, and aging up can have a significant effect on the price we pay. So and then we get into real numbers, so that they know what they're dealing with. But I would never just go to my client and say, hey, you got a 3% increase on your plan, because they don't care about the inner workings of how of how rates are calculated. What they care about is what they pay. And so being aware of this just gives you a little bit more ability to consult your client and give them information that shows what you're talking about. So we'll catch you in the next video.